Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's bring you the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal, EcoBank.
Health workers in Sola in the Savannah region desert post due to communal violence.
And also coming up tonight, private legal practitioner says committee that investigated the rage altercation did not satisfy the legal threshold for assault and battery.
And later in the bulletin, former United Nations advisor on governance, Professor Bafo Agyemangua, endorses calls for by-elections to be scrapped.
Coming up in business news, Ghana Union of Traders Association commends Bank of Ghana's new travel forex guidelines and says the move will end trader harassment at the ports.
And on the international front, 3 dead and 17 injured in shooting incident in the United States of America. We have details of all these stories, including business, sports, and entertainment, all coming up for you.
We begin from the Savannah region, where the Minister for the Interior, on the advice of the National Security Council and by executive instruments, has imposed a curfew on Sola Tuna Kalba Township and its environs in the Savannah region. The curfew, which runs from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, takes effect today, Wednesday, August 27, until further notice. This decision follows land dispute issues that have triggered security threats in Sola, Biniri, Geniri, and adjoining communities. About 10 persons have died since violence erupted over the weekend, resulting in about 10 deaths with hundreds of other residents displaced. A statement signed by the minister also imposed some restrictions on all persons in the Bole Township and its environs. That's a total ban on carrying firearms, ammunition, or any offensive weapons, and any person found with any firearms or ammunition will be arrested and prosecuted. No 2 or more persons should be seen on motorbikes throughout the day, and no war regalia should be worn throughout the day. And these are the restrictions imposed on the township. Let's now cross over to our reporter, Christopher Amwako, who is now in the community watching events for us. Christopher, thank you so much for your time. Can you confirm if the curfew has taken effect? Christopher, kindly unmute. Christopher, we can hardly hear you. Kindly unmute and give us update on the situation over there.
Portia,
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I can confirm to you that the curfew has taken effect. The residents are complying with the curfew directives, and as we speak, security operatives are in the Sola and Bole townships, ensuring that people comply with the curfew directives. Portia.
What about the displaced victims and residents? Are they receiving more aid, humanitarian aid and food supply?
Yes, so Portia, as you can see in the background, several hundreds of women and children gathered here at the Sola police station. As we speak, yesterday, the gender minister and the ministry brought some food items to this displaced victims of the conflict. Earlier today in the morning, some food items were brought again. And this evening, as we speak, the gender minister and her team, including the Savannah regional minister and other RECSEC members, are here at the Sola District Police Station with some food items to give to these displaced victims of the conflict. The gender minister is here with a pack of food, as you can see. Portia, I'll engage her briefly. You have just come to the Solar Township. I want to find out from you, what are your initial assessment of the situation?
Thank you very much. I want to thank every person who has held the fort for all this while, who has been with the people, who has been serving the people. In fact, this was not anticipated. And so the response time of most of the institutions is a bit delayed. But thankfully, because of the decentralized nature of the ministry, and then the regional minister, and then the district officers, MC and the rest, we were able to, communicate to get some support to them, I think, since yesterday. Today, you see that it's in the night, it's a bit delayed because we didn't prepare for this, especially feeding in the morning and feeding in the evening. And so from tomorrow, we'll put in more structured program to ensure that the people here don't become more vulnerable than the situation is now.
Honorable, one critical thing we should be talking about is their health. Any arrangements for these people gathered here?
Okay, so thank you very much. If you heard me address them, first of all, we needed to identify the pregnant women amongst them, and then people with other health conditions that need some support. So once we know where they are, I've asked NADMO to get us all the data that we need. We'll be able to meet and address their situation as such. I'm talking to the Ministry of Health to get us some basic first aid to the camp, so that anybody, Red Cross is here. I've asked them that anybody who feels unwell in any part of the body, they should contact Red Cross, so that when this comes, any medical facility that comes here will be able to, meet their health needs, especially the pregnant and lactating mothers and people with other health conditions. The other thing is to see to the hygiene of the place. The place needs to be hygienic enough, because if there should be, God forbid, an outbreak, we are going to have another form of disaster which we don't want to have. And so we met before we came to this place. We had a debriefing, the gender ministry with the regional minister and then the MC. We had a debriefing, and we've made arrangements for sanitation to be taken as a serious matter alongside the health issues.
All right, so I'll briefly engage the Savannah regional minister. Let's talk about the security.
Okay, so the other thing is also arranging for sanitary pads for the women here. So these are things that from tomorrow. In fact, I spoke with the interior minister, who is also making arrangements. By tomorrow morning, they will come and give support, so that it will support it will enhance what the Ministry of Gender is doing, because it's no joke. Okay. And I believe they will get you.
All right, so regional minister, you are chairman of RESTEC. The curfew has just taken effect. In 30 seconds, we have seen some of the residents resisting. As the chairman of RESTEC, what message, what word do you have for the people? Because this curfew intends to protect their own safety.
Yes, resistance to curfew, especially in an area that they've never experienced curfew in their life, is something that is expected. But it is the early stage, and we are speaking to them, and we are hoping and praying that they comply. In fact, the curfew terms are quite straightforward. Don't actually wear traditional amulets, the traditional jacket, or war jacket, and the rest. Don't carry any offensive weapon, whether in the daytime or in the night. No two people should ride a motorbike, whether in the daytime or in the night. And in the night, from 6 o'clock to the next 6 o'clock, don't move beyond where you are currently resident. This is just a simple rule. It is for the sake of the people, and our people should understand, so that when the peace returns, within a short time, the curfew will be lifted and we'll enjoy the fullness of life.
Okay, so Portia, if you can see this background, yesterday the number was not like this. Earlier today, we saw more people trooping in, probably because of fear that their communities will also be attacked. Portia.
Now, Christopher, just before you go, we understand that as a result of this conflict, health workers in Sola are beginning to flee post. How true is this?
Exactly so. I visited the Sola District Hospital and spoke with the medical superintendent who told me that the conflict is actually having an impact on healthcare delivery because some of the people who are at the health facility are affected by the conflict. And so they do not actually come to work. They have fled even the district, which is putting some pressure on the few staff who are at post. And he actually said that it is going to hugely affect the quality delivery of healthcare services. Let's take a listen to the medical superintendent of the Sola District Hospital.
Started. We received a total of 29 casualties. Out of the 29 casualties we received, 7 of them were brought in dead. Then we treated, the rest came in alive with injuries, gunshots. Treated some of them and we discharged. And then we also referred some of them to Tamale Teaching Hospital, Wa Regional Hospital, and then Techimai Holy Family. Yes, it is putting a lot of pressure on us because, some of the staff are briefers. Some are also gonjes. So those who are briefers feel threatened and they have fled. So,
Christopher Marco, thank you so much for the updates that you've given us. Do stay safe for us. And Christopher Marco is our Savannah regional correspondent.
Let's go on to some other stories this evening. And medical records show that the rotational nurse who was at the center of the Ridge Hospital altercation did not suffer any fracture or dislocation and was treated with pain relief and offered psychological support. This was contained in the report of the 6-member committee tasked to look into the incident. George Queening reports.
The Ridge Hospital altercation happened on August 17. Almost 2 weeks into the incident, the committee tasked to look into the incident has presented its report to the Sector Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando. The 48-page report exposed the weak security at the emergency department at the time of the incident. There was no delay in attending to the patient with suspected head injury, which led to the agitation by Ralph Williams and the motorbike riders that the said patient had been abandoned. However, it was found out that all diagnostics imaging equipment, including X-ray, CT scan, MRI, were faulty and non-functional. The rotational nurse on duty did not suffer any fracture or dislocations and was treated with pain relief and offered psychological support, according to medical records.
Honorable Minister, the committee also found out that although there is videos evidence of verbal or word altercation between one Mr. Raff, his colleagues, and the staff members of the hospital, we are yet to receive any video evidence or a witness account of an alleged physical attack or altercation. There is, however, documentation in the hospital health information management system that alleged victim, that's Miss Rejoice Chuchu Bote, who is a rotation nurse, reported her injury to the hospital the day after the incident, that's on the 18th, and was further treated. There was no evidence of fracture on her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder, joint as documented by the medical records. She was, however, had been treated at the time we visited. Had been given some pain relief, it has been recommended for a bed rest, and also has received psychological support care.
The committee recommends an improvement in security at the facility, recruitment of additional clinical staff, which is described as woefully inadequate at the time of the incident.
There must be improvement in security presence at the emergency, the ambulance triage area, by adding at least one personnel more at the gate and ensuring that the gates at the ED are always manned by security personnel. Additionally, we also propose that the CCTV cameras around is very limited to some of the care areas. And so we propose that if it is not for any privacy, they should add on some more CCTV to give evidence and also ensure that the staff will know that somebody is monitoring them in their work.
Minister of Health Kwabena Minta Akando said among the recommendations, of which some are in progress, beefing security at the hospital will be implemented before Monday, September 1.
As for time frame of starting work on it, I can give you, but as to the completion of when that will be finally completed, that will be another thing. As for especially the emergency issue about security, I can assure you by Monday, from here, I'm just going to give instructions for some of these things In fact, the truth of the matter is that the very day we visited the hospital, which of course I was accused of greeting somebody, that very day I gave that instruction that they should look at the internal security. And I had the opportunity to also speak to the police. So some of these things have already started and they are in motion.
In a bid to improve Ghana's health system, the committee expects government to provide avenues for continuous engagement and sensitization of the public on how facilities operate, especially in relation to emergency response to care. George Quenin, TV3 News, Ministry of Health, Accra.
Right, we're staying on this subject, and we've been joined by private legal practitioner Christian Hesse. Mom, a very good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Right, so if you can hear me, kindly unmute so we can hear you as well. And while you're at that, we are told that you have claimed that the committee that investigated the altercation did not satisfy the legal threshold of assault and battery. What exactly is informing this position that you have shared, sir?
Yes, I mean, if you look at Act 29, before that, if you look at the composition of the committee, there ought to have been a legal brain amongst them to deal with that particular terms of reference. That had to do with whether or not the allegation of assault can be upheld. But indeed, their conclusion does not necessarily deal with the issue of assault. Now, whether or not there was a fracture was determined or not, it's not necessarily the point. Because when you look at Section 86 of Act 29, which deals with assault and battery, it deals with the fact that a person makes an assault and battery on another person if without the other person's consent and with the intention of causing harm, pain, or fear, or annoyance to the other person, or of exciting the other person to anger, the person forcibly touches the other person. They are able to establish, or they have established, that indeed the lady was treated and further recommended to have a bed rest. That treatment alone meant that there was an unlawful touch which caused all these elements that I have mentioned. So that if there was a legal member as part of the committee, that part would have been dealt with in a legal conclusion. So that alone, they generally dealt with what we call adverse error. And adverse error in medical practice, medical law practice, deals with managerial errors that can lead to the cause of medical negligence.
Right.
So including manpower shortage or human resource shortage, incidents of lack of security, lack of managerial decisions to take necessary managerial steps that would sustain healthcare delivery. And where any injury caused can be traceable to such managerial errors is what we call adverse events in clinical errors under medical negligence. So that aspect is dealt with, but the assault and battery part, that convicts under Section 86 of Act 29 has not been dealt with at all. That is why her case in court would prove that.
So, I mean, two things I'm picking from your submission, which is, one, assault is somewhat difficult to explain physically, because I think many would have thought that assault would mean maybe some physical, evidence to show that either the person was hit or has a certain evidence on their body. But you are saying that assault, per the definition of the law, could be even psychological, which will be difficult to prove. Is that the case?
Yes, assault involves, with assault, you don't necessarily need to touch the person. So it is an unlawful apprehension of force. But with battery, there is touch. With battery, there is touch. Right. So you can flick your hand unlawfully in the face of somebody and cause that person an unlawful apprehension. That is assault.
Right.
So because they lack a legal member as part of the committee, that is why they were unable to do justice with their conclusions. But the other parts of it, like I said, satisfies issues when we are dealing with clinical errors.
Okay.
And that comes under what we call adverse events in medical negligence. Those are managerial things that can lead to harm. And when that harm caused and it doesn't go according to the standard of care required, and there's a deviation, then we say there's medical negligence, which came about as a result of adverse event or a clinical error, which is relatable to management. But when it comes to assault, the committee was not able to conclude on the legal requirements. So to let the general public know whether assault was occasioned or not. Assault has nothing to do with whether there was a fractured bone or not. But once the person was treated, it means that there was
something
an
definitely
unlawful
must have
apprehension
happened.
of force. And
Counsel,
that conclusion, if there had been a legal person on the committee, would have concluded properly.
We are grateful for bringing this interesting perspective to the conversation. Thank you very much, private legal practitioner Christian Hesimal.
Let's now go to the Ashanti region, where a devastating fire swept through a section of the bustling Swami Magazine Market on Tuesday night, reducing over 100 shops and sheds to ashes and destroying merchandise worth millions of Ghana cedis.
The inferno, which began around 11 p.m. on Tuesday, quickly engulfed wooden structures and metal containers housing valuable waste. Despite the frantic effort of residents and the Ghana National Fire Service, the fire raged for hours before it was brought under control. The scene on Wednesday morning was one of utter devastation. Traders, many of whom had dedicated their lives to building their businesses, watched in despair as they scavenged through the debris to pick what remained of their livelihoods.
It's about 11. Almost friend me catch him say Ganeshi. To me, so me use car to me fat trotro. Me free. Me take chrono franco. Me free one man me do as a fire service for her. Almost boss and come be doing on so. Si be na structure ni city. No mu so baby anen so. Sana see ya nya bibi amfa.
We come for the we never nyash. Me say. What's your man? The
cause of the fire is not yet known, but preliminary suggestions from some witnesses point to a possible electrical fault from one of the shops. Ashanti Regional Fire Commander, ACFO Peter Tete, confirmed the scale of destruction.
The fire spread very rapidly. And what they saw was a lot of explosions from gas cylinders. The sheds here are 192, and then the stores are made up of 25. At least those these were actually involved in the fire. Very difficult to get access. And you know, where the fire has been parked on the road, you have to lay a lot of hoses before you get inside, which makes it firefighting very difficult.
The National Disaster Management Organization is conducting an assessment to determine the estimated cost of damages. As the traders grapple with their monumental losses, calls are growing for immediate government intervention and support. For now, hundreds of traders face an uncertain future. Their dreams and investments turn to ashes in a single night. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Stay in the Ashanti region, where government has presented an amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis and some relief items to the Swami market fire victims. Announcing the support package to the victims, the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, also assured the traders of government's commitment to assist in the rebuilding of the market. He, however, pleaded with the traders not to rush and erect structures haphazardly, as was done in previous years.
any briefing na ɛkɔ na na yɛ cars ni nyinaa bɛduru ha no ɔmo wura mu no na ayɛ den ɛnkyɛ yɛ bi ebi to yɛ wɔ dum present ɛno sɛ ɛnkɔ wie brɛ nyinaa yɛ car ne wura edwa no mu a nim sɛ edwa wɔ edwa dada ebi a mo si yɛ kora ne yɛ nwome but mmerɛ kɔ n'anim a gas sɛm ɛne nneɛma ɛma edwa etumi so ntɛm ɛrekɔ soro no na wɔsi yɛ kɔ yɛ baba so ebetumi a redesign the market no bi yɛ bɛsrɛ mo obiara biribi a ɛwɔ ha biara no ɔmataki records of it obiara ande biribiara mfiri obi nsɛm sɛ ebi a wɔ space a na wowɔ no yɛde afiri nhyɛ ma nansesa nti mamo ma yɛn pepere yɛn ho mfa saa yɛm hyehyɛ no ɛnsa mfa nyɛ old one na biribi sɛ asi a obiara ntumi ɛmfa ka nwuram ne aboa.
On to other stories now. The Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Martin Kweku Eyisi, has been reassigned to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Government sources confirmed the move to 3 News. The reason for his reassignment is not yet known, but it comes after months of mounting pressure on government to remove him from office. Back in April this year, the National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association accused the Minerals Commissioner under Mr. Eyisi's leadership of failing to provide effective solutions in the fight against illegal mining. The association argued that the Commission's action and inactions had worsened land and water degradation. They insisted that reforms at the Commission were critical if government's anti-Galamsey campaign was to succeed. And in a moment, we'll take you through who exactly the man in question is. For those who may not know him, that's him on your screen now, Martin Kweku Eyisi. His current role up until his reassignment was the Chief Executive Officer. So he previously was the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, and that was between the period of March 2021 and April 2025. Now we're told today that he has been reassigned to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. His career path: he joined the Minerals Commission in 2002 and rose through the ranks. He was a board member in 2017, became deputy CEO, and then between 2021 and 2025, he was the Chief Executive Officer. Again, he has over 20 years experience, and then his experience covers mining law and policy, petroleum law, and international environmental law. In April 2025, the National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association criticized his role, or the fact that under his watch, the fight against illegal mining seemed to have worsened. And it's on the back of that that many are speculating that government decided to reassign him. The allegations brought against him include failure to provide effective solutions against illegal mining, which is Galamsey, and then they say his actions or inactions contributed to land and water degradation.
In more news tonight, a former United Nations advisor on governance has endorsed calls for by-elections to be scrapped. Professor Bafo Ajimandria raised red flags over security challenges and tension that continue to fuel violence during by-elections.
Look at the tension and the amount of money you have to spend on security. And in the end, when you elect the person, what difference does it make anyway? So my argument is that, yes, it's a constitutional requirement, but fortunately, we're in the process of reviewing the Constitution, and this should be one of the issues you bring. My humble proposal would be that, look, when a party wins a constituency, we have to acknowledge it is for 4 years, as we have. So in the course of the 4 years, if the elected parliamentarian unfortunately gets incapacitated or passes away, that party that won the constituency should have the sole right to replace the one who passed away. To replace. And how they replace it, it doesn't have to be elections. It should be up to the party to replace. That, for me, is the best approach to this.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business news right after this.
reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Associations Guta has welcomed the Bank of Ghana's latest directive on traveling with foreign currency, describing it as a step towards ending the harassment of traders at ports and borders. Earlier today, the central bank announced amendments to its guidelines on the import and export of foreign currency aimed at strengthening anti-money laundering measures.
The Bank of Ghana has issued new travel guidelines under Ghana's foreign exchange and anti-money laundering laws. Travelers may carry up to $10,000 without declaration. Amounts above that must be declared using official forms, with outbound travelers carrying over $50,000 required to provide supporting documents. The central bank warns that undeclared or falsely declared funds may be seized, with offenders facing fines or prosecution. Currency sent by mail or cargo will also be confiscated. Speaking to 3 Business, Guta President Joseph Obing commended the central bank for its efforts to streamline forex regulations and protect traders.
It's going to help us a lot because in this particular instance, nobody is going to harass you that you are traveling with more than $10,000 as it has been happening, and then people are being extorted left, right, and center.
The Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has hinted at a possible barter arrangement in which Ghana could exchange electricity for natural gas from Nigeria. Ghana has long relied on Nigerian gas to power its thermal plants, but the relationship has been strained in recent years due to payment delays.
Ghana has made significant progress in settling a $75 million gas debt owed to Nigeria, following threats to cut supply. The arrears, which accumulated after earlier debt of $169 million were cleared between 2017 and 2021, have now been largely paid as of May 2025. Speaking at the Future of Energy conference, Energy Minister hinted at a proposed gas for electricity swap between Ghana and Nigeria, a deal he says reflects the spirit of intra-African trade.
We supply power to Burkina, we supply power to Côte d'Ivoire, and we intend extending to other neighboring countries. We also supply power to Benin. And so in the spirit of that cooperation, we believe that we can work together to take gas from Nigeria. And so what Ghana does is that we take the gas from Nigeria, we generate power and re-export. And we are in discussions with Nigeria to see if we can have a barter where we take their gas, convert it to power, and export the power to Nigeria in the spirit of West African cooperation.
On Ghana's sustainable energy agenda, the minister revealed that plans are far advanced to transition all cabinet members to electric vehicles by the end of the year. He also announced that fuel stations will be incorporated into the national rollout strategy to support the widespread adoption of electric cars.
This year, we envisage that we'll be able to put all cabinet ministers to drive EV vehicles within Ghana to set as a testament. But I also see that the filling stations we are talking about, for the batteries for these EV vehicles are getting smaller and smaller. And what I see is that in future, these petrol, diesel, or fossil fuel stations will become EV battery stations.
The Nuclear Regulatory Authority, NRA, is collaborating with the National Communications Authority to oversee and regulate radiation emissions from telecommunication masts across the country and the functioning of these companies. Director of Nuclear Installations at the NRA, Professor Emmanuel Ampoma Amwakon, made this known on the sidelines of a training workshop in Accra for selected journalists.
The Nuclear Regulatory Authority, when established, was made to take additional responsibility for radiation. The former Radiation Protection Board previously provided that oversight. The collaboration with the National Communications Authority will allow the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, NRA, to extend its regulatory reach to the telecommunications sector, ensuring that radiation levels from mobile phone masts are within safe limits.
Currently, the NRA is working with the NCA, the National Communications Authority, to regulate the telcos, and it's work ongoing. It's NCA that has the regulatory oversight of all telcos, so it is for the various technical support organizations to provide the assistance so that they can effectively authorize the use of the telcos. So it's not really about the radiation alone, but also about the functioning of the telcos, which the NCA provides the final authorization.
The partnership is aimed at protecting public health and safety from potential radiation exposure.
MTN Ghana Foundation, the corporate social responsibility arm of the mobile network, has hosted another insightful edition of its flagship Bright Conversation series, a platform that brings thought leaders and change makers together to inspire national dialogue.
The MTN Ghana Foundation, established in 2007, serves as the driver of all MTN's corporate social responsibility initiatives in the country. It operates as an independent entity with its own board and patrons, focusing on three key areas: health, education, and economic empowerment. Through programs like Bright Conversations, the foundation demonstrates its commitment to sustainable socio-economic development, partnering with communities to address national and international priorities. Chairman of the board, Professor Frank Menu, spoke on the initiative.
Well, typically we look at the number of people who are going to potentially benefit from it. So, for example, if you are putting up a clinic, what is the catchment area? Okay. If it's a school, what's the catchment area? If it's a library, what's the catchment area? So we look at that, and we also look at it in terms of only the numbers, but we tend to be a little more partial to women and children. They are integrated, impact, sustainability, and all of that. They are all integrated. You can't separate them.
Some of the beneficiaries shared their testimonies.
What essentially has happened was that my fees were being paid, I was given stipends, I was also coming for other programs at MTN. So all I did was to focus on my education, my accommodation was paid for, and then my fees were also paid for. And it helped me to focus on medical school, just medical school. And by God's grace, I've been able to complete last year. I'm a medical doctor now, doing my housemanship at Kolubu Teaching Hospital.
Before getting the scholarship, I used to think of where my school fees and hostel fees was going to come from. But ever since I got the scholarship, I've never had to think of that during my whole school years. And since then, it's been marvelous, because I can say that MTN is one of the reasons why I am a doctor. I'm an optometrist today.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
insect spray and coil.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off from the Black Stars, where head coach Otto has announced his 24-man squad for Ghana's crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mali and Chad, with the team aiming to consolidate their place at the top of Group I. There's more in the following report.
List blends experienced names such as Thomas Partey, Mohamed Kudus, Jordan Ayew, Gideon Mensah, Antoine Semenyo, and Inaki Williams, with fresh inclusion such as Derrick Cohen, who is earning his debut call-up. The squad list sees the likes of Majid Ashimeru, Razak Simpson, Ebenezer Annan, Lawrence Jekum, Brendan Thomas Asante, and Kingsley Schindler, who have been regulars in the national team this year, drop out, as Caleb Irenchi and Christopher Bonsuba retain their place after an impressive Unity Cup. The Black Stars travel to face Chad on Thursday, September 4th, before hosting Mali at the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday, September 8th.
We're hoping to win. We are focused on ourselves. We believe that the best thing to do at this point is not to think about the other games. We will take the games one after the other. We have Chad next. We have to prepare well and be mentally focused and go to N'Djamena and pick a win. After that, we will come to Mali, another difficult game. Even though it's going to be in Accra, we know that the crowd will be behind the Black Stars, but it's not going to be easy. We have to fight for the points. We have to leave sweat on the pitch, and that's what the technical team is focused on doing. At the end of these two matches, we want to grab the maximum points, and that will definitely make our qualification much easier. And then in October, we'll wrap it up against Central African Republic and Comoros.
Ghana currently sits at the summit of Group I with 15 points from 6 matches, having won 5 and lost just once. The team officially opens camp on Sunday, August 31st.
To some more were eligible to play for Ghana and Germany, Union Berlin defender Derrick Cohen has opted to play for the Black Stars. The 26-year-old was handed his debut call-up by Otto Addo ahead of Ghana's doubleheader against Chad and Mali in the World Cup qualifiers. Here's all you need to know about Ghana's new left-back.
Derrick Cohen is the newest face in the Black Star squad. Born in Hamburg, Germany, to Ghanaian parents, the 26-year-old left-back has built a solid career in Europe before answering the call to represent Ghana. The Ghana Football Association say they had been monitoring him for a while, but the switching process took time. Cohen came through the youth systems at Hamburger SV and Bayern Munich. From there, he moved to Willem in the Netherlands, where he became known for his pace and attacking intent down the left wing. In 2021, he joined Hannover 96 in the German second division. Over 2 seasons, he became one of the most consistent fullbacks in the league, recording 8 goals and 12 assists in 56 appearances. That form earned him a move to Turkish side Galatasaray in 2024, where he featured in the league and in Europe. After 6 months in Turkey, Cohen was sent out on loan back to Germany, this time around with Werder Bremen. Despite impressing, the club found the purchase fee of €5 million too expensive. However, that didn't stop fellow Bundesliga club Union Berlin, who secured the services of the left back. With solid defensive positioning and the ability to push forward into attack, Cohen offers the Black Stars a modern option at left back. Now, as Ghana prepares for the next round of World Cup qualifiers, Cohen will be eager to make his mark on the international stage and add fresh competition to the Black Stars' defense.
Now, before we wrap up, just updates coming in from the Women's Champions League qualifiers in Yamoussoukro. Police ladies have bounced back from their first game defeat to Bayelsa ladies and are currently leading Sam Nelly by 3-1. They would carry this confidence and hope into their final league game, which if they win, they secure qualification to the last 4 of the competition. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Up next on the bulletin is entertainment.
Styled.
And Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, Ghanaian actor and theatre practitioner Andrew Tando has expressed concern that today's generation of storytellers are not being exposed to the right materials needed to produce stories that truly reflect African values, culture, and traditions. Now, speaking on the afternoon show, he emphasized that storytelling is not only an art form, but also a powerful means of preserving history and heritage. While storytelling continues to evolve with new styles in media, it remains a vital art form playing a crucial role in the socio-economic and cultural development of our country. However, many find it worrying that some writers and creatives have lost touch with telling the authentic African story. Ghanaian actor and theatre practitioner Andrew Tando has expressed concerns that today's generation of storytellers are not being exposed to the right materials needed to produce stories that truly reflect African values, culture, and traditions.
We even need to look beyond the entertainment space, because what are we training the children who are coming up on? Who are their heroes? Who are the people they look up to? There's an anime community in Ghana. People who are huge fans of anime like that. Can we say we've told our stories? We've pushed our heroes. We've even created our own heroes and pushed it ourselves with pride to the extent that they have infected. Is there a Ghanaian hero community in Japan? The future storytellers are in the schools now, and they are not being fed the material that will sow the seeds of the next generation of storytellers. So there are no heroes, there are no icons that we have that have our cultures and traditions imbibed in them that they can use to train the next generation.
Speaking on the afternoon show, Andrew emphasized that storytelling is more than just a form of entertainment. It is a bridge between generations, preserving cultural practices and fostering a deeper connection to our roots. To amplify Africa's indigenous knowledge systems and showcase the richness and complexity of African identity, guests on the show agreed that we must be more intentional and deliberate in how we tell our stories if we are to preserve our heritage and traditions.
We will have to be intentional about it. Sure. It is not like by accident. Someone needs to be intentional about it and push from all angles, like you said, not just entertainment, everywhere. In fact, it starts from our school.
And that'll be all for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Coming up, international news.
A black-clad gunman killed 2 children and wounded 17 other people when he opened fire on a morning mass at a Minneapolis Catholic school, authorities said. The assailant, a man in his early 20s, fired dozens of rounds through the church windows and then took his own life, officials said. He was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. Officials said the shooter did not have an extensive criminal history. They did not provide his name and said they were trying to identify a motive.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia Gabor. Do join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.